all of you joining us this morning with the study of Bhagavatam, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya program. In the Middle East I was there. There was one program called Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. And devotees assemble and recite Bhagavatam every day. We don't have a temple-like temple, but devotees gather together and recite, do Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. So this morning, 7th canto, chapter 5th, text number 12. Please repeat. Sayada pumsam pashubuddhir vibhidyate anya esha tathanyoham iti bhedagata satihi. Sayada anuvrata pumsam pashubuddhir vibhidyate anya esha tathonyoham iti bhedagata sati. So, that Supreme Personality of Godhead, Yada, when, Anuvrataha, favorable or pleased, Omsam, of the conditioned souls, Pashu Buddhi, the animalistic conception of life. I am the Supreme and everyone is God. Vibhidyate is destroyed. Anyaha, another. Eshaha, this. Tatha, as well as. Anyaha, another. Aham, I. Iti, thus. Bheda, distinction. Gata, having. Asati, which is disastrous. Translation purport by Prabhupada. When the Supreme Personality of Godhead is pleased with the living entity because of his devotional service, one becomes a Pandit and does not make distinction between enemies, friends, and himself. Intelligently, he then thinks, every one of us is an eternal servant of God, and therefore we are not different from one another. This is how he thinks. Unquote. There's a quote, unquote. Purport. When Prahlad Maharaja's teachers and demoniac father asked him how his intelligence had been polluted, Prahlad Maharaj said, as far as I am concerned, my intelligence is not polluted, has not been polluted. Rather, by grace, it's a long, okay, it's a long, okay, 2 pages, purport. By the grace of my spiritual master and by the grace of my Lord, Krishna, I have now learned that no one is my enemy and no one is my friend. We should be also thinking like this, and talking like this. After having received the blessings of our spiritual masters and blessings of Lord Sri Krishna Balaram, we are all okay. This mistaken idea has now been corrected, and therefore, unlike ordinary living beings, I no longer think that I am God and that others are my friends and enemies. Ishvaro aham. I am Ishvara. Aham bhogi, aham sukhi, aham this, aham that. And it's a long list. The demoniac nature. So this is how they think. But now that mistaken idea has now been corrected, and therefore, unlike ordinary human beings, I no longer think that I am God and others are my friends and enemies. My idea. You want to be God? No? Or you want to serve God? Was a question asked to a person who was showing some tendency or some inclination towards becoming God. This was in America in early days. One bhakta was around Prabhupada, Bhakta Titon or Titon. So Prabhupada, you want to serve God or you want to be God? This person jumped, I want to be God. Because he wanted to be God, and then he was looking for someone who could make him God. So when he met Prabhupada and Prabhupada asked, you want to be God? This person thought, finally I have met someone who could make me God. If he's making this offer, I'm sure he could make me God. Otherwise, why would he inquire? Then Prabhupada made further inquiries. He said, you want to be God? Yes, yes. That means now you are not God, right? You want to be God, that meant you are not God now. Then Prabhupada said, one who is God, not God cannot be God. God did not become God. God is always God. And one who is not God could never be God. Finished. All his aspirations were destroyed. And then he decided to be servant of God. And he became very good servant of God, Giriraj Swami Maharaj. But he was interested in initially becoming God. Now, so my rectified, that mistaken idea has now been corrected. Now I am rightly thinking that everyone is eternal servant of God and that our duty is to serve the Supreme Master. For then we shall stand on the platform of oneness as servants. Oneness as servants. All servants, everyone is servants, but that is the oneness. Or we are all one. In a different sense, not Mayavad sense. Demons think of everyone as friend or enemy, but Vaishnavas say that since everyone is a servant of the Lord, everyone is on the same platform. As Krishna Balaram ki jai. Therefore, a Vaishnava treats other living entities neither as friends nor as enemies, but instead tries to spread Krishna consciousness, teaching everyone that we are all one as servants of the Supreme Lord, but are uselessly wasting our valuable lives by creating nations, communities, and other groups of friends and enemies. In this list, very easily could be added as different religions also. And then one religion becomes enemy of the other religion, and the battle. Okay, we are Muslims, but you are Shia Muslim and I am Sunni Muslim, and I will get you, I'll kill you. People become enemies like that. We just had a nice kirtan on Young Street in Toronto, Nagar Sankirtan. And then we were returning to the temple, so we took our seats in the car, in the vehicle. And then one person, he approached me while I was in the front seat. And he asked me, "Where are you going?" I said, "To the temple, Hare Krishna temple." And he said, No, you are not going to the temple." And I said, "Please tell me where I am going." And he said, "You are going to hell." We just had nice kirtan, and this person was ready to send me to hell. Then he pulled a Bible and he was reading. One who does not accept Jesus in the heart, they are all devils, and they all end up in the hell. So this is the friend and enemy. Even religion is could think and do think in these terms. So they are not serving God and not favored by God, as Prahlad Maharaj mentioned. He was favored by God. So you are not serving God, you are serving death. Even our Trump, the president of America, had to say, a few days ago he was in Middle East, he said, "These terrorists, they are not serving God, they are serving death. They are worshipping death, killing everybody." Hari Hari. So, therefore a Vaishnava treats other living entities. Long sentences here. Everyone should come to the platform of Krishna consciousness and thus feel oneness as servants of Lord. I think in India, in general, there's a broad thinking or friendly thinking. India is normally friendly country. So when there was a war between China and India, long time ago, in early 60s, 1960s. So then they were battling, but India was spreading the awareness of friendship, or giving that message. Hindi chini bhai bhai. Hindi chini bhai bhai. I was just a little boy at that time, in a small village in Maharashtra, and so we were also going around in the gullies, shouting, Hindi chini bhai bhai, Hindi chini bhai bhai. I had no idea what we were talking about. Hindi is a language and chini is a sugar. And they are supposed to be bhai bhai, the brother. This is how I was thinking. It's not even understanding what is this Hindi and what is this chini. So later on I realized Hindi means people of Hindustan, and chini means people of China, Chinese. And they are supposed to be brothers. I understood the word meaning when I grew up, or understood Hindi language also. But then, only when I met Srila Prabhupada and studied Bhagavad-Gita at his feet, then this mistaken idea, or I had no idea why, the bhai bhai. If there are two persons are bhai brothers, what does that mean? There must be a common father, otherwise what kind of bhais, brothers are they? So, are we children of Mr. Modi, or everybody's, or the president of China? No. Bija pradapita. Aham bija pradapita. I am seed giving father of all the living entities. Krishna said, so that's it. So it was all clear. Hindi chini bhai bhai. And then we could expand that. Why Hindi chini, but all sthans, Khalistan, not only Pakistan, this sthan, that sthan, all sthanas, people all over the world are our brothers. The brotherhood that they talk about, the brotherhood, universal brotherhood. How is that possible? To realize, unless we realize that we all have common Father, and that is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Some call Him Jehovah, some call Him Allah, Allah the Great, some call Him Krishna, Yakarshati Sa Krishna, the same personality of Godhead. So if really, although there are 8,400,000 species of life, a Vaishnava feels this oneness. Wasn't there in Italy there was a Saint Francis? Then there's him. He used to address sister bird and brother tree, and like that. He was known for this. When he went around, brother bird, oh sister tree, oh, like, used to talk like this. So brotherhood not limited to the human species, but there are 8,400,000 varieties. Aam Admi Party. They say. Our party is Aam Admi, for all the human beings, our party. But our party is Aam Atma Party. For all Atmas, not making any distinction. Protection for all Atmas, protection. So Prabhupada was not thinking of only human beings or only gentlemen only. He also included the ladies also. Otherwise there's a bhed is there. Buddhi bhed. Bhedagata asati. When buddhi is not chaste, asati, mati, buddhi, always thinks, prostitute, intelligence becomes prostitute and runs away, of course, giving up the original master. Sri Krishna goes elsewhere, goes here, there, and also makes distinction, ours and theirs. Men and women make distinction. Human beings and animals, the cow is treated also lumped into the stock of animals or list of animals. But Prabhupada cared for cow protection, Go Mata Ki. Also trees. Trees should not be unnecessarily cut. Prabhupada writes in one of the purport. So much deforestation also. To serve Mother Earth, trees are essential. Anyway, trees are even essential for our survival. They serve us, we serve them. Really. So, Prabhupada said, writes in purport that the government should not allow the cutting of the trees in the forest unless those trees or paper made from those trees is going to be used for BBD publications. Then the government should allow cutting of the trees, not otherwise. So Prabhupada is thinking welfare of the animals, the cows, the trees, and not only big nations. Prabhupada is favoring big nations. He went to tiniest country in the world, Mauritius. Just little spot, little dot. He went to America, he went to Mauritius also. He did not make that bhed distinction and favoring one or friendly with some big nation and inimical towards others. And then he said, this is United Nations of the spiritual world. And devotees on the dais, and he used to introduce devotee from China, maybe not China those days, from America, from Africa, from here, there. And this is United Nation of the spiritual. Otherwise, why call it UNO? It's not united, it is disunited. And he used to say, every time he drove by that UN building in New York, he used to see yet another additional flag, yet another additional, after a few months, another flag, another. What kind of united? This is disunited. They're breaking into pieces, disunited. So unity is possible in Krishna consciousness only. Ishopanishad advises ekatvam anupashyataha ka shoka ka moha. Why lament? Why be in illusion? Ekatvam anupashyati. Oneness. Yeah, Prabhupada also has said. Pandit, one becomes Pandit when the Supreme Personality of Godhead is pleased with living entity because of his devotional service. One becomes a Pandit. Right there in translation, Prabhupada is putting this thought. Pandit, he becomes Pandit and does not make distinction between enemies and friends. Panditaha, what? Samadarshina. Panditaha Samadarshina. Nanu Sochati Pandita is also there. Ka Shokaha, Kamo. Nanu Sochati, no lamentation. Panditaha Samadarshinaha. Then he is looking at what? Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane. Brahmane, he is looking at Brahman, looking in the Brahman, inside Brahman. Gavi in the cow, Hastini in elephant, like that. The longer list, and at the end says, Panditaha Samadarshina. Samadrishti is possible for Pandit, or one who has also vision like this. He is Pandit, he is learned. Yah pashyati sa panditaha. Was that Chanakya or Chanakya? He said, Yah pashyati sa panditaha. If you see like this, Yah pashyati, one who sees. Like what? Yah pashyati sa panditaha. Matravat paradhareshu, like that. Matravat paradhareshu. All the dharas, all the women are matravat, lostavat paradraveshu. The property, sampatti of others, it is theirs. I will not touch, it is theirs. And in this context, what we are reading, what Prahlad Maharaj is thinking, Atmavat sarva bhuteshu, Atmavat sarva bhuteshu. He's thinking all the bhutas, all the living entities are what? Atmavat. Very nicely said. Atmavat. Just like myself. Others are just like myself, as if they are me, myself. There is no difference. So how could I hurt others? Hurting others is like hurting. If I beat myself, I hurt. So hitting others, beating others, killing others is like killing myself. Atmavat sarva bhuteshu. They are like me, or they are my Krishnas. They belong to my Krishna. They belong to my Father, Supreme Father. We are brothers. Sisters. Okay. So this is Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada. Hari Hari. Although there is relationship of master and servant, both master and servant are one because of their spiritual identity. This is also ekatvam. Okay, spiritual master in this. A spiritual master is also servant of the Lord. Kintu prabhorya priya eva tasya vande guru sri charanarvindam. In one line it said, Sakshadharitvena. That's nice, that's fine, welcome, worshipable. But at the same time, the Sakshadhari is Kintu Prabhorya Priya Eva Tasya. He is very dear. He is very dear servant, very dear devotee of Supreme Personality of Godhead. So for that reason also, Vande Guru Sri Charanarvindam. And Prabhupada is talking here, Ekatvam. The spiritual master, my master is also servant, and servant is also servant. Or servant may also take the position of master, spiritual master, or superior. Father is superior, mother is superior, like that. But ultimately, everyone is a servant of Lord. So, ekatvam, oneness. Although there is, this is ekatvam. Thus, the conception of ekatvam of Vaishnava is different from that of Mayavadi. Okay? Because anyway, you'll have to imagine think now or later what Prabhupada is pointing out. Parasya Shaktir Vividhaiva Shruyate Natasya Karyam Karanam Cha Vidyate Swabhaviki Jnana Balakriya Cha. Lord has Mayavadis, trouble with Mayavadis is their misconception, misunderstanding is they don't accept this Shakti of the Lord. Shakti and Shaktiman, there are two. Shakti comes from Shaktiman, energy and energetic. They think only energetic exists. And when living entities are Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi. So temporarily they have come under the illusion. Brahma has come under illusion. This is their Brahm. This Mayava, this Brahm is that thing. The living entity who is Brahma has now come under illusion, and as soon as you become free from illusion, immediately you're back with Anshi, if you could call it. The living entity now separated under illusion is Ansha, and as soon as he realizes Brahma Satya Jagat Mithya, this world is Mithya, Brahma is Satya, then he's back with Brahman, Aham Brahmasmi. But what does Lord say in Bhagavad-Gita about this living entity? Mamai Vamsho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. Lord is Anshi and living entity is Ansha, part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For how long? Sanatana. Forever. Forever they are separated part and parcels. Eternally. So there is no, anyway. So we are parts and parcels. That's a good news. We are parts and parcels of the Lord. Not Lord, parts and parcels. Tiny, tiny lords, tiny, but separated. This energy of the Lord. And again, although we are all living entities, okay, we are all servants, so oneness is there. At the same time, we are not one. Each energy is meant to serve the energetic differently. Each one is eternally, we remain as energy, entity, serving the Lord. Hari Hari. We are different. We are different. Simultaneously, one and different. But one with the Lord, we are different from the Lord. But those who are different from the Lord, all the living entities, each one is also different from each other. They are not all one. Or they're all living entities of oneness, they're all one. No. Each one is different. Each one is different. There's the beauty of the Creator. Amazing. Each one is different. Each one looks different, talks different, thinks differently. All spiritual, of course. All spiritual and eternal and different. So we are all one and not one, and we are different also from each other. That also is the correct understanding. And we never become one. Hari Hari. When a family member is killed by an enemy, all the members of the family would naturally be inimical to the murderer. But Hiranyakashipu saw that Prahlad had become friendly with the murderer. Who is the family member here? Hiranyaksha. Hiranyaksha is a family member. My brother was killed by our enemy. That Vishnu is murderer. And look, this child of mine, my son, my son, my son. What have you learned? And then, anyway, it's a nice dialogue that is going on between Prahlad Maharaj and his father. It's wonderful dialogue, samvad, which goes on, in fact, which goes on and on and on forever. Between, the father is demon father and devotee son. Then this kind of dialogue goes on. What has happened to you? You see, our children have been brainwashed. This Swamiji, Bhakti-Vedanta Swami, has brainwashed our children. Sometimes, or maybe I say this. Like there's a car wash centers in America, car wash. Now it is coming to India also, but first time I noticed car washing center. Then I used to think, Hare Krishna temples are brainwashing centers. Brainwashing centers. And so many parents took note of our children have been brainwashed. And then they drag ISKCON Prabhupada to the court. Who has brainwashed our children? This goes on. Why has this happened? Maybe, I could say this quickly. Talking about buddhi here. Lord giving intelligence, Lord favors and then gives intelligence to his devotees and he becomes pandit. And so when I was a little boy, I used to accompany my mother to the temple, and my mother used to get me to fold my hands. Okay, fold your hands. Okay, I did. What next? Pray. What prayer? Oh God, give me intelligence. Oh God, give me intelligence. So finally, Lord, give me intelligence, favor me, and join Hare Krishna movement. But mother was thinking, hey, what kind of intelligence God has given you? I did not ask you to pray so that you end up getting Krishna, God, or ending up becoming Hare Krishna. So she was not happy. She was not happy. So this goes on between the parents and children or different parties. Who is crazy, who is crazy? Materialists say they are, Hare Krishnas are crazy, and Hare Krishna say they are crazy, and this goes on. One who has created, therefore, he asked, one who has created this kind of intelligence in you, have you developed this consciousness by yourself? Since you are a small boy, someone must have indeed induced you to think this way. So, Hiranyakashipu had inquired, since you are a small boy, someone must have induced you. And then I think Jahasa, even Hiranyakashipu smiled when he heard the first reply. Hiranyakashipu was amused, a little amazed and amused. Okay, this is child. He's immature. He's thinking like this, talking like this. And then he's asking, is it yourself or someone else has worked on you? Swaparaha, the words are used. Jahasa buddhi balanam vidyate parabuddhibhi. By someone else, buddhi, intelligence, or brainwashing, he's bala buddhi, he's talking like this, childish talk, jahas. He laughed. And then Hiranyakashipu wanted to know, who is it? Who is it? Tell me. And then he said, Yan Mayaya, whose Maya, because of whose Maya, people think Paraha Sva Cha Iti Asad Graha Umsam. Oh, this is ours, they are there, these are outsiders. This kind of distinction, Bhed, Buddhi, this is done by whose Maya? That's Lord's Maya, illusory Maya. Mama Maya, Mama Maya. Whose Maya? Mama Maya, my Maya, Duratyaya, very difficult to overcome. And what does one of the function of this Maya is? She makes you think. This dvandva, ours and theirs and this and so many things. Enemy and friends and on and on and on, this thought goes on. Who's Maya? So, Vimohita dhiyam drishtaha tasmai bhagavate namaha. As he was saying, oh, who is it? Who taught you this? And he said that tasmai bhagavate namaha. That Bhagavan, he has taught me this. Or Narad Muni, on behalf of Bhagavan, has taught me this. Hari Hari. Pashubuddhim. Pashubuddhi vidyate. Lord gives buddhi to some. He gives pashubuddhi. Animal-like buddhi, animalistic intelligence, thoughts. As I read this pashubuddhi, the very last thing that Shukdev Goswami said to King Parikshit, one of the last items in the 12th canto, on the 7th day of the recitation of Bhagavatam, very soon the snake is on the way and is going to be reaching on time. So just prior to that, Shukdev Goswami's final instruction to Shukdev Goswami, to King Parikshit, he said, Pashubuddhim jahi imam rajan. O king, that day. Tvam tu marishe rajan iti, somewhere iti. Pashubuddhim jahi. This thought, thinking, what? Tvam tu marishe or aham marishe, tvam tu marishe iti, oh, I will die. This pashubuddhi, this kind of animalistic thinking, jahi, you kill this. You kill this thought, pashubuddhi, pashu-like thought, animal-like thought, that I will die. You have nothing to do with the death. Or bhed again, janma and mrityu. This bhed, janma, mrityu. So don't think in terms of death. Pashubuddhim jahi. Abandon this thought that you will die. Na jayate mriyate va kadachan. No death, no birth. For the soul, there is no birth, no death. And like that, there's another page to go, and time is flying. When you have fun, what happens? Time flies. I don't know whether you had fun, but Hari Hari. But it is also said times can stand still. Only in present. When there's a Bhagavatam class, everything stops. Stand still. We are in present only. But there are some managers, timekeepers are sitting around, looking at the watch. and keeping track. And of course, there's a biological clock also. Biological clock. Around 9 o'clock there's alarm. Alarm bell. Bells begin ringing. And they are waiting to hear very favorite prayer. Mahaprasad. When would that day or time come? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And to wake up, Mahaprasade, everyone jumps. Hari Hari. So maybe I'll just quickly just read and finish. Or tomorrow's speaker will read the purport? As stated, Prahlad Maharaj wanted to reply that an attitude favorable toward Vishnu can develop only when Lord is favorable. Sa anuvrataha. As stated in Bhagavad-Gita, Krishna is friend of everyone. Suridam sarva bhutana gyatva shantim vricchati. The Lord is never an enemy to any of the millions of living entities, but is always a friend of everyone. Now what about devotee? Devotees are also. He says, Suridam sarva bhutanam. And devotees are described as Suridam sarva dehinam. Sadhava sadhu bhushanaha. Remember that verse? Bhagavatam says, Lord is Suridam sarva bhutanam, and devotees are Suridam sarva dehinam, meaning the same. This is also oneness between Lord and Lord's devotees, oneness, or they are thinking alike. They are thinking alike. Or devotees think like God. And not everything that they could think, but different things. What they think like God. That is how they're like Father, like Son. They're children of God, so they think like their Father. They think like Father, their Father. And when they think like this, that becomes high thinking. Simple living and high thinking. High thinking is thinking like God, thinking like Krishna, that is high thinking. So Lord thinks always friend of everyone, and devotees are also friend of everyone, and they also pray. Sarve sukhina bhavantu, sarve sukhina bhavantu, sarve santu niramayaha, sarvani bhadrani pashyantu, na kvachit dukbhag bhave. This is also high thinking. God thinks like this, and devotees also think like this. Sarve sukhina, sarve sukhina. Sarve sukhina. Na kvachit dukbha bhavet. Sarvani bhadrani. And what? Sarve santu niramayaha. Let everyone become free from diseased condition, disease. I was invited for hospital opening, and then I chanted this prayer. Part of that is, let everyone become free from disease. Sarve santu niramayaha. The owner of the hospital said, Maharaj, You are praying that let everyone be free from disease. I'm just now opening my hospital. How would my business run if everyone... But this is high thinking. Broad thinking, high thinking. Wishing well, and if there is something you could do for their welfare. If one thing the Lord is enemy, his intelligence is Pashu Buddhi, the intelligence of an animal. He falsely thinks I am different from my enemy and my enemy is different from me. The enemy has done this and therefore my duty is to kill him. Right? So this is seen all over the world, this philosophy, this tendency is all pervading what we read in the pages of Bhagavatam here. This misconception is described in this verse as Bheda Gata Sati. The actual fact is that everyone is servant of the Lord as confirmed in Chaitanya Charitamrita by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Jivero Swarupahoy, Krishnera Nityadas. And then Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, E Jeev Krishna Das, E Viswas, Karlato ar Dukhanay. Just by knowing this much, how much Ye Jeev Krishna Das, this living entity is servant of Krishna. Karlato ar Dukhanay, no suffering. So you see, propagation, how important is propagation of Krishna consciousness, so that people could be happy. As servant of the Lord, we are one, and there can be no question of enmity or friendship. If one actually understands that every one of us is a servant of the Lord, where is the question of enemy or friend? Any question? No question, if we understand. But those who think in terms of, they have not understood, so we have to understand. Everyone should be friendly for the service of the Lord. I mean, each statement here is like a Veda Vakya. That's why we're also stopping every now and then, because there's so much has been said, like a sutras. Each sentence becomes like a sutra, Vedanta sutra. And then we have to unpacking, analyze and understand, contemplate. Everyone should praise another service to the Lord. Yes? Should, okay. Everyone should. Okay. Then what? We heard this, then what we have to do? We have to think, we have to praise. We have to praise service of others. And not be proud of his own service. Like Hanuman was a little proud one time while they were building the bridge. One little squirrel had come and she was picking up some dust particles and climbing up the big boulders and those rocks and then shaking her body and dumping all 50 grams of sand in between those. So Hanuman said, hey, get out of this. She was putting some cement in between those rocks. But Hanuman said, what is it? We are bringing big mountains And she's bringing 5 grams, 50 grams of sand. Get out. Did Hanuman appreciate that? Not Hanuman. Ram. Ram was observing. Come. Hanuman, come here. When he was called, he was looking behind. They always do that. Hey, you are sleeping. And the person who is sleeping, he wakes up and he begins looking behind. Just to give impression, no, not me, Maharaj is pointing out about someone behind me. Not me. Now you, Hanuman, you. Now, Lord gave a little lecture. What do you think? Who you are? You're proud. Trunadavi Sunich in a lecture. Amanina Amanade in a lecture. So, this is the way of Vaishnava thinking. Just see. This is the way of Vaishnava thinking. Vaikuntha thinking. Vaikuntha thinking. They think in Vaikuntha like this. And those who wish to go back to Vaikuntha, which we always call going back to Godhead, unless we are trained and become perfect in thinking the way, not thinking the way is expected, there's no question of going back to Vaikuntha. We're not fit for Vaikuntha. We're not fit for going back home unless we begin thinking the way Vaikuntha Vasis, Golok Vasis think. There may be rivalry and apparent competition between servants in performing service, but in Vaikuntha planet, the service of another servant is appreciated, not condemned. This is Vaikuntha competition. There is no question of enmity between servants. Everyone should be allowed to render service to the Lord to the best of his ability, and everyone should appreciate the service of others. If you could learn one of these things mentioned, that's good enough for us to go back home, back to Krishna. Since everyone is servant, everyone is on the same platform and is allowed to serve the Lord according to his ability, as confirmed in Bhagavad-Gita 15:15. What is 15:15? Bhagavad-Gita? Sarvasya chaham pradisannivishta mattaha smritir jnanam apohanam cha. The Lord is situated in everyone's heart, giving dictation according to the attitude of the servant. However, Lord gives different dictation to non-devotees and devotees. Two kinds of dictations. Devotees, one dictation; non-devotees, another dictation. This is what? Mattaha smritir jnanam apohanam cha. Jnanam for somebody, smriti jnanam for somebody, apohanam, which is forgetfulness, for another one, the non-devotee. So one who says God exists, that dictation is coming from God. And one who says God doesn't exist, show me God, that kind of dictation is also coming from God. That kind of dictation is coming from God also. Is your father in? Let me find out, check. And the little boy had gone looking for his father. And when father found out that such and such gentleman, I don't want to see him, tell him I'm not here. So child goes back to the door, and he said, my father said, what did your father say? He is not here. My father said, he is not here. So God does not exist. Who said? God says. If you want to hear it like that, if you deserve that kind of shravanam, okay, so it's available. Logic is there and arguments are there, reasoning, everything is all there eternally from the beginning of creation. Such forgetfulness is also existing, and source is the Lord. So Prabhupada says dictations, two kinds of dictations. Devotee gets one kind, non-devotee get another kind. Non-devotees challenge the authority of the Supreme Lord, and therefore the Lord dictates in such a way that the non-devotee devotees forget the Lord's service life after life and are punished by the laws of nature. But when a devotee very sincerely wants to render service to the Lord dictates in a different way. As Lord says in Bhagavad-Gita 10:10. What is 10:10? Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam enamam upayanti te. Very important. Those who are constantly devoted and worship me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. Everyone is actually a servant, not an enemy or friend, and everyone is working under different directions from the Lord, who directs each living entity according to his mentality. End of the purport. Prabhupada ki jai.